fans, start your engines for a non-stop thrill ride.
Yeah!
It's the most high-octane countdown show ever, bringing you the 10 greatest Talladega moments.
Where did he come from?
From the wildest wins.
And we're just bam, bam, bam.
I don't remember laughing at anybody.
To the craziest wrecks.
Pieces of cars.
It's the first time I flipped in a race car.
There's smoke, there's cars.
From the man in black.
He could feel air, could see air.
To Junior on a roll.
It was just unbeatable.
It's going forward road.
From an impossible comeback.
He ran them down under green.
To one of the greatest gambles of all time.
Was he out of gas?
But only one can be number one. This is more than just a race to the finish line. It's a journey through time. Buckle up and hang on for the 10 greatest Talladega moments. Number 10.
Just when you think these Talladega races can't get any wilder,
Busch leads this lap. Burton just led that lap. Ryan Vickers leads this lap.
We could be looking at close to 100 lead changes in this 188-lap race.
Talladega's always crazy. It's always wide open, always intense.
Harvick looking for the lead.
Lead change after lead change after lead change.
And they're going to lead this race now.
You're never sure who's going to win that race until it's over.
From the very drop of the green flag, it seemed like everybody was wanting to lead this race.
He wants to lead.
Guys pushing each other constantly.
Every turn, every straightaway, we had a lead change.
4 lead changes away from the all-time record.
So many guys just decided to lay it on the line, not just in the final 10 laps, but all the way.
The entire race was right on the edge of your seat, wondering who was going to make the right pass at the right time.
I think it's going to come down to the last quarter of that last lap coming to the checkered flag.
Harvick winning at Talladega, to me, was actually a big surprise.
That was quite the finish to watch when him and Jamie had to break away.
Came clear to the start-finish line. It was kind of a classic pass by Harvick.
Masterful job of driving by Kevin Harvick.
that was old school racing.
Here they come! Harvick! It's Harvick! He got him!
He pulls out at the right time.
Did the exact right move, and it just shows you how hard these things are to win. Just ask Jamie McMurray. I mean, he had that thing in his sight.
From start to finish, it was just one tremendous wrestling match for the lead after another. You know, you don't get a day like that every single week, but when you do, it's really special.
Number 9.
Trouble Stewart in the wall.
Here we go. Here we go.
Robbie Gordon's in at the 33. Harvick is around.
Here we go, guys.
If you're looking for spectacular crashes, Talladega's had their share.
It's fun for the fans. It's really nerve-wracking for the drivers.
I like racing. I don't like wrecking. Done a lot of wrecking there.
When you get to super speedway racing, you always know there's going to be a big one.
It's not a question of if, it's when.
It's a matter of time.
When something goes wrong, inevitably it is the quote-unquote big one.
The big one.
At least 20 cars.
When you think about 24 cars,
cars started going everywhere.
Smoke got bigger and more dense.
There's smoke, there's cars.
There were race cars going everywhere, sliding all over the place.
They were on top of each other, spinning wildly, upside down, sideways.
Everybody's out. Like, everybody was just taken out.
And you're looking to see who's in it, who made it out.
I just remember thinking, what am I going to talk about with this race? Everybody's gone.
The way this started, Kyle Petty got ran up high going into turn 1, and as he tried to find a place in line, the whole field kind of accordioned together. Mayhem.
And when it settled, it just looked like it was a junkyard.
It's crazy. We wreck on the straightaways.
I've never seen a racetrack turn into a junkyard that quickly.
It was, I don't want to say typical of Daytona and Talladega, but it wasn't a surprise either.
Number 8.
Carl Edwards has the lead, but under attack. Contact here at the triangle. Edwards goes up in the air.
You know, when it came down to the end there, you know Brad Keselowski was going to try to do all he could do to try to win the race.
Two guys going for the same piece of real estate.
You just knew something was going to happen.
There's contact made, and they're along for the ride.
Pieces and parts flying.
Cars and parts and pieces flying up in the stands.
Goes flying into the catch fence.
At this point, I'm thinking, boy, I wish this was made out of liquid gel.
The car goes around and up into the fence, and we have the flashback of Bobby Allison's crash.
And that was very reminiscent of Bobby Allison going up into the catch fence.
First thing you're worried about is everybody okay.
Even with that fence in between, You just never know what's going to happen.
Unfortunately, it's tested out with hundreds of thousands of people in the stands.
You were worried about the fans. Fans got injured.
Man, this is a high-speed game these guys play up here on the racetrack, and they make it look easy, inches from each other.
Carl obviously had a huge wreck, and we could all laugh about him running across the finish line.
I didn't know if it mattered if I went across the finish line, but I just wanted to finish the race.
At the end of the day, it was nice to see that the safety equipment that was in place for the fans actually worked.
The catch fence holds him from going into the grandstand.
We have taller fences, higher walls, and the fans are safer.
Did exactly what it was supposed to do, and that's kept Carl's car onto the racetrack.
Number 7.
Ron Bouchard.
Ron Bouchard.
Bouchard comes up the inside. 3 cars side by side.
But you do like to see the underdog do well.
You think of unexpected winners.
He may have won it by a foot.
You wondered why they put the start-finish line at Talladega down where it was.
The checkered flag is all the way down toward turn 1.
Over the years, that has really created some incredible finishes.
And I happen to be involved in that one.
And it's a typical Talladega race.
Now, you talk about close but no cigar. In 1981, we looked like we were getting ready to win another race at Talladega.
Terry Labonte and I had the 2 best cars.
We were battling really hard with Terry Labonte.
It was going to be a battle between he and I.
Darrell and Terry are side by side as they head down toward the checker flag.
Now, to the outside goes Labonte.
We're coming down to the line. We're coming through the trial, and I'm easing over him, and I'm easing over at him, and I'm easing over at him because trying to break his momentum a little bit.
I was a crew chief on this race car, and out of nowhere, here comes Ron Bouchard in the 47.
And man, we finally get to the start-finish line, and I beat Terry by maybe 6 inches. When I finally got there, and I looked up, and I was so excited, and a car went by. So I said, man, I don't remember laughing at anybody.
Ron Bouchard slingshotted right around both those guys.
Where'd he come from?
Where did he come from?
I looked up, and I was shocked. I had no idea he was even anywhere near.
I won. I said, no, you didn't. Never will forget. What? Ron Bouchard had beat us back to the start-finish line by inches.
Bouchard was clearly the underdog, and for him to be able to pull that off was pretty spectacular.
Coming up next, the crash that could have changed it all.
That was one of the scariest moments I had witnessed in racing.
Pieces of car go flying, dust and smoke.
And Junior and Senior back-to-back.
Earnhardt at Talladega, they were unbeatable.
They dominated.
When the 10 Greatest Talladega Moments returns. Time now for the honorable mentions that just missed the 10 Greatest Talladega Moments.
The thing I remember about that wreck, people drove through the wreck one time, came back around and got in the wreck the second time.
There were guys that continued on and finished the race with no damage whatsoever that had driven underneath Ricky Craven.
The man of steel never got hurt, and you could tell that he had been banged up pretty good. But
Dale Earnhardt, one top customer.
Number 6.
Oh, we have a problem. Bobby Allison with a horrible crash.
There was this horror in your mind of what could happen.
Parts and pieces flying everywhere.
You saw pieces of fence, pieces of car go flying.
That was one of the scariest moments I had witnessed in racing.
You saw smoke come out of Bobby Allison's car, and then you saw it get sideways, and it just absolutely lifted off.
The car just took off and went up in the grandstands, and it's like, oh my gosh.
All I saw was a big cloud of dust and smoke on the front straightaway.
Cars were going crazy trying to get away from him.
It looked horrific when the car got up right near the flag stand where Bobby's car lifted up.
A hush came over the entire sport.
I thought really this was the end of Bobby Allison.
I think I ran over something. I couldn't really tell. Something bounced under the car, and then just nothing I could do.
What actually happened, my engine blew up, and a big piece of my engine went under the car, and I ran over it, which hopped the car into the air and blew the tire out. Of course, from there on, it was crash and bang and hang on.
First thing I'm thinking about is Bobby okay?
I'm okay.
And then I realized, oh no, everything's flying in the grandstands.
There were people in the sport, in the garage, that said that could have ended NASCAR as we know it.
At any second, that fence could have given way, and if that car gets on the other side of it,
You shudder to think about what would have happened.
It was one of the most horrific crashes that this sport has ever seen.
It was the wake-up call that our race cars was way too fast.
That single moment right there changed our sport forever.
Racing as we know it could have very well ended that day with Bobby Allison airborne at Talladega.
Number 5.
A few people had multiple victories at Talladega up to that point.
Up until 1984, we had never had a repeat winner.
I don't think anybody has ever come close.
If somebody was going to screw it up, it was going to be Dale Sr.
He started that phenomenon of winning consecutive races.
Dale Earnhardt has done it again. He's the first man to ever win it 2 years in a row.
We deify Earnhardt because he was a great race car driver.
Earnhardt, I believe, won 10 times at Talladega.
He was the intimidator. When he came to you, he was going to do everything he had to pass you.
We got branded as the intimidator or too intimidating sometimes.
He had a go-for-broke type attitude, you know, which I think a lot of people identified with.
Earnhardt just seemed to know where the limits were.
Everybody believed he had this magical power.
Earnhardt was the only driver that could literally see the air and
sort of follow the wind. He could just see where it was supposed to go, where the car would work.
I'm not real sure that that's not true.
To come back and win it a second time.
To me, that's a sign of dominance.
Dale Earnhardt has done it again.
Proved he was truly the master of that type of racing.
And he was the one that got to victory lane for the second time at Talladega that day.
The first team to ever win the Talladega 500 2 solid straight time.
That's a pretty rare feat, and that's pretty rare air.
Number 4.
Earnhardt at Talladega, that area is Earnhardt country. You would think that Talladega, Alabama was their hometown.
Anytime you're in Talladega and Little E is on the track,
You could be standing there with your eyes closed and you knew when Earnhardt Jr. went to the lead at Talladega.
To win multiple times at a certain racetrack just takes an extraordinary amount of skill and a super fast race car.
He had a pretty good teacher about how to run, you know, on a track like Daytona or Talladega or any of them for that matter.
You talk about the apple not falling too far from the tree.
He's got some intuition that his father had. He's been in really good cars.
At that time, Dale Jr.'s program was just unbeatable.
They dominated the restrictor plate tracks.
No matter where Earnhardt was, then he was going to end up front. You're almost racing for second.
Dale Jr., a lot like his father, he could see air.
I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is one of the most talented race car drivers that I've ever driven with.
When you do something twice in a row, that's solid.
Then you add 3 or 4, it just becomes almost like phenomenon status.
For Jr. to become the first to win 4 in a row after his dad won so many races at that track is pretty spectacular.
It's cool, 4 in a row.
4 times, that's unheard of.
To see him win 4 at Talladega, that surprised me one bit. Because this guy, not only was he good, he was the best at the time.
there's a big party in Talladega that day. Bigger than even normal.
You had to have heard those fans from 20 miles away, I think, when Junior goes off and wins his 4th straight at Talladega.
Coming up next, out of gas and gunning for victory.
Hey, help Harry win.
I am livid.
You can't get pushed on the last lap.
Earnhardt trying to come up through the middle. Starting from 18th with 2 to go.
There's no way he's going to be able to get back and we're just
bam, bam, bam.
He did not just do that.
When the 10 greatest Talladega moments returns. Welcome back to the 10 greatest Talladega moments. This is number 3.
The white flag is out for Harry Gant. One more lap to go. Will he make it?
Yeah, you had to bring up Harry Gant winning Talladega in '91.
Well, Harry's not out of gas. I don't know. Maybe he's going to try to push him.
Was he out of gas?
But here comes Harry Gant down for the checkered flag.
Yeah, he was.
He wins it.
Do you really want to know the rest of the story?
Everybody was cutting it close on fuel that day.
Rick Mast was Harry Gant's quasi-teammate.
Harry comes off turn 2 and his car starts running out of gas.
So Harry was out there on fumes trying to make it the rest of the way.
Hammond is screaming there ain't no way he can make it.
It was kind of one of those nail-biting things. Is he going to make it or is he not going to make it on fuel?
They radio Rick.
Hey, help Harry win.
Rick had pit at the same time Harry did. So he had enough fuel, but the problem was he was a lap down from something that happened earlier.
His teammate Rick Mast, everybody's trying to help him win.
He got pushed by his teammate.
He gets pushed to victory lane.
And Rick Mast moved to the inside to make sure that NASCAR saw that he was not pushing him.
Well, when the race is over with, I mean, I am livid. I'm over to the NASCAR trailer.
We're having this, discussion, and they're, talking about reviewing this and reviewing that.
Well, about that time, there's a knock on the door.
I'll never forget, Elmo Langley came up in the truck.
So you think Harry ought to be disqualified, huh? And I said, you got that right.
Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you and Darrell an option.
He said, well, how about if a guy that ran second spoiler was about 10 degrees too low?
Darrell didn't have any brakes when he came down pit road, and we had pulled on the spoiler because we were sliding our feet trying to get him stopped.
I said, Bill, I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's just leave everything like it is.
That's the way it's in the record books, and we run second.
No assisting a driver to victory lane.
When he went across the start-finish line, there was nobody pushing him.
Number 2.
Yeah, I don't ever recall in the modern era anybody that had a more or a bigger speed advantage at a place like Talladega than on that given day.
There was no doubt that Bill Elliott was going to win.
And he is in a zip code of his own, which is where he was so many times during that entire season.
They were beating people on super speedways week in and week out. The competitors were all scratching their heads.
They were unbeatable. I mean, literally, I've never seen anything like it.
This is how much of an advantage they had over the fields, and you'll never see this again, never.
He gets down 2 laps. One lap at Talladega is 2.66 miles. He ran Cale Yarborough down over 5 miles.
Do you realize how much faster he was than all the rest of the cars?
Maybe the fastest race car I've ever seen.
I just want to make sure everybody understands. He ran them down, passed everyone, ran them down again, passed everyone, ran them down again.
He made up 5 miles.
And them rascals made 2 laps up under green.
Under green.
Under green.
That's like you're out there on 8 cylinders and everybody else is on 4.
They had no competition on this day.
That's getting it done.
When Bill Elliott made up 2 laps on his own, that's when they should have said timeout.
People wonder, was it legal?
Every single thing you could possibly hear about that car on that given day has certainly come up.
And they got 2 laps down and just flat ran them down. Should put in perspective how strong that engine was.
And quite frankly, it was probably the biggest waxing that we have ever seen in this sport, period, bar none. That race, 1985, Bill Elliott wins Talladega.
Coming up next, the greatest Talladega moment of them all.
Earnhardt Sr. has come from 17th spot in 4 laps.
I mean, it's like watching a guy throw a perfect game.
When the 10 greatest Talladega moments returns. We've seen 9 unforgettable Talladega moments so far.
That's what Talladega's all about. Lead change after lead change.
This guy's incredible.
That was old school racing.
The big one.
24 cars. Cars started going everywhere.
Everybody was just taken out.
The car becoming airborne.
It looked like a video game. That was a video game move.
Car went back.
I won. I said, no, you didn't.
Where did he come from?
You saw pieces of fence.
Parts of pieces flying.
Yeah, it was crash and bang and hang on.
We had never had a repeat winner.
To come back and win it a second time.
To me, that's a sign of dominance.
You talk about the apple not falling too far from the tree.
It's school board road.
4 times? That's unheard of.
Was he out of gas?
Hey, help Harry win.
He got pushed by his teammate.
He ran them down
Under green.
Under green.
But now it's time for the most unbelievable Talladega moment of them all. This is number 1.
My favorite Talladega moment was myself and Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt comes down and will take his 10th career victory on Talladega.
People used to say Earnhardt could see the wind.
Could see air.
He could feel air.
What does that mean?
Dale Earnhardt was the greatest drafter of all time.
I mean, this was not a normal Talladega race. This was for a $1 million bonus.
Dale, plain and simple, had a strategy for these races.
Never had he done anything like he did on this given day.
Dale Earnhardt, the 3 car's been up front all day long, but right now he seems to be struggling. He's falling back to the position.
You know, it's 10 laps to go, and we both have bad pit stops.
There's no way he's going to be able to get back to even probably the top 5 or top 10.
But we all knew that Dale Earnhardt was synonymous with Talladega.
Anybody could do something like that. It was Dale Sr.
But that usually can't happen in the final 5 laps.
Dale Earnhardt, as he did many, many times, he figured out a way.
He was running 18th with 2 to go. Starting from 18th.
He goes back and Kenny gets on his bumper.
And all of a sudden, I just started hitting Dale. And I seen that big old paw come up, and he's like this, come on, come on.
Earnhardt trying to come up through the middle.
And Kenny decides, I'm going to hook up with this guy.
We know this black car knows how to get to the front.
Here they go to the front of the field.
And we're just bam, bam, bam.
Inside, outside.
Using the draft. From the middle to the inside, and from the inside back to the outside.
It was like the C spread.
1 lap. All of a sudden, he's up to 7th.
Slice through the competition.
Moving up, moving down.
Where did he come from in 4 laps?
Earnhardt is going for the lead.
White flags waving, and me and Dale take the lead.
Earnhardt Sr. has come from 17th spot in 4 laps to lead it.
He did not just do that.
I mean, it's like watching a guy throw a perfect game.
I push him across the start-finish line.
Dale Earnhardt comes down and will take his 10th career victory on Talladega.
And I didn't have any thought that I'd have a chance of winning this race starting where I did on that restart.
There's no way I would have thought that someone could come back from that many laps in that short a time.
But Kenny couldn't have pushed anyone else to the front.
I don't think we could have got back up there if it wasn't for Kenny.
He was thanking us at the end there.
Be good going to Vegas now with $1 million in my pocket, huh?
For Earnhardt to come from that deep in the pack.
2 laps to go in winning that race.
It really set him apart from everybody else I've ever witnessed race.
It was sort of symbolic of his career and what he was about.
He did things that nobody else had ever done or ever thought about doing or ever do again.
Pretty hard for me to believe that that was Dale's last win, and I'm happy to be part of it.
It's Harvick! He got it! 3 cars side by side.
At least 20 cars.
Contact here at the trioval. Edwards goes up in the air.
Oh, we have a problem.
The first man to ever win it 2 years in a row.